Namaste and good evening. We are here again today to throw some light on our topic pandemic versus education, hope to cope up and normalize. Today we have Mr. Rahul Mitra. It takes a big heart to help shape little minds. Our speaker tonight, Mr. Rahul Mitra, has proved these lines with his dedication and hard work. Mr. Mitra is a postgraduate in Biophysics and Business Administration with a flair in software programming. He has spent almost 2 decades in developing core software skills and training. He has enjoyed a very successful period as a dedicated and focused school administrator for almost 6 years, where he was the founder principal. And with his hard work and dedication towards education, he leveled the school up to ISO standard. He gave, and that gave the birth to the first ISO certified school of his region. He has carried out various experiments on diversified school timetable to reduce students the load of bags to half, create test examinations for removing fear of exams and testing, developing teaching aids to reduce the time spent by teachers between teacher and student for administrative purposes. At present, he is the Vice President nidishgyankatta.org, a virtual education platform to help mass education, bridging the gap of teaching and evaluation. To his platform, they evaluate the students for various subjects and their performance is graded. Let's welcome Mr. Rahul Mitra. Namaste, sir, and good evening.
Namaste. Good
How
evening.
are you,
Very nice to meet you all over here. Hope you are being in peaceful and lovely atmosphere right now with the pandemic around.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It's almost been 2.5. It's almost been 1.5 years that we are under this situation. So, sir, let's without wasting any time, as you are aware that our topic for today is pandemic versus education. Hope to cope up and normalize. Sir, what according to you should be our vision, our take towards this situation?
Okay, let me begin with trying to understand uh, that pandemic, has it affected education? The very first thing, do we consider education, the education that has to happen, formal education, and the education in continuation process? I would say education is no, acquiring knowledge, and knowledge is acquired by any child in any situation. Right from the time the child is conceived, the education is being taken up. So we cannot say that during pandemic the education gets stopped. No, the education is in process. It's going on. Only thing is the formal education, what we call it, that is not happening. So we need to formulate, we need to try and understand this formal education. Actually, many people have been talking that examinations are not done. So I heard some people commenting that a few days down the line, when uh, the advertisements for jobs would be coming, they would be mentioning that somebody passed out during 2021, 2022, 10th and 12th standard pass out, need not apply. I was shocked with this kind of attitude towards education. It means people don't understand education at all. They understand only examination, pass or fail. So this very basic thing about education need to be understood. And education, if we look at, it starts not just by the teachers, you know, it's the parents. It starts from the parents. The first teacher to a child is not a teacher, it's a parent, the mother, basically. So, education is something which is taking place from all around the atmosphere of the child. So, we need to understand this education. Let me come to another point. The kind of teachers, means at least my times, the kind of teachers, they used to teach. The word teach is there. So, this teaching will not be required anymore. Because I'll tell you one good example about the generation that is being there today. Today's children would not need teacher, because if you look at, if I say this, you would say I'm talking too loud, but it is not. Look at a child from the age 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, in between that. Try to observe them. Okay, you have not taught them alphabets, you have not taught them numbers, because at that age we don't teach those things. We teach to speak and these things, to question, to answer, that kind of things. Alphabet, the meaning of alphabet, the meaning of numbers is not there at all. But these little children are very comfortable. Just give them a mobile in their hand, a smartphone, or you give them any kind of a remote control for a TV or a video game or any switch. They would operate it perfectly. Now, how do they understand those numbers and those alphabets over there? On a smartphone, they don't find any numbers and alphabets also. They know how to operate those switches to bring those screens up. That means I have come to a understanding or conclusion that this 2G generation, the generation what we would be looking, they're 2G plus generation. That means they are inbuilt with 2000 plus pre-learned attributes in their life. They know few things. You don't have to tell them how to operate a remote control, how to operate a smartphone, because they have pre-learned this thing. Now, when they have pre-learned these things, that means there are many more things pre-learned to them. So the teacher today need to be smarter, much smarter than those children, and they need not be teaching them, because the simple teaching, they would take them, they know they can google the things, they can come to know few things what they want. If you tell them something odd, that New York is very near to London, so they would say, sorry sir, you are telling something wrong. Madam, you're wrong. There's a big sea between them, because they have googled, they go through these things, they have seen it on various videos, video games and other things. They know all these things. You cannot fool them these days. So the teacher has to be a mentor. The teacher need to be a mentor. So now we need mentoring people. So the whole education system, I would say, is drifting from teaching towards mentoring. And the formal, what you call the formal teaching to an informal teaching. We came across, earlier, as it was mentioned, or it came across in many of the talks, that uh, children are called to sit in online education times. They all should come in uniform. How do you think this is going to work out? We are working right now. I'm working from home. I'm sitting in home. So why do we insist on things which are not required, which doesn't have any effect? Your uniform doesn't affect anything onto education, the kind of thing. You need to do this, you need to do that. We waste time on unnecessary things. So we need not spend those hours, those moments. We need to work out on directly some of the things called as pure education. So the shift, the drift has to take place on that.
So I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yes.
Like as we were discussing earlier, you mentioned that Gyan Katta has been there for almost 10 years,
Yes.
right? And now the situation is such that every child is being home tutored, every child is online and gaining online learning, right?
Yes.
We all are aware that this time the pandemic has been more dangerous and more fatal.
Yes.
The virus is becoming stronger every time,
Yes.
right? So where do you see the future of virtual schooling in the next coming 3 years?
Uh, I would say every school right now for last 1 year was working like a virtual school, but with all the syllabus, the contents and thoughts based on that old uh, model of formal education, which need to be changed. Now the virtual education, which is required, is need to be a modern virtual education. Here, the parent plays an important role also. The teacher, the mentor, I would say. Now, I don't call teachers. Mentor needs to be a very important role because the child is open to a system, to a technology, and the child is acquiring knowledge. That doesn't mean that the child is all alone. The teacher, the parent, the mentor, they are looking at it, but still the freedom is there. So we need, this is going to happen, that we need to provide more and more of virtual education because the things would go on. I came across many people who are looking out for virtual education. Let me come to one point. Uh, Virtual education, which you would experience today, you would also think of a very essential thing. There was earlier another concept that formal education at a school and homeschooling was a concept. So virtual education is a good substitute and an addition, a help to homeschooling. And homeschooling in US and even in India, some of the places, Bangalore, Pune, have very good results. The students who have done homeschooling, the parents who have helped their own children, they have been better resulted than others. And virtual school will be a very good support for this homeschooling. And it is going to be almost a homeschooling support.
Sir,
Yeah,
I have another question. Sorry to interrupt in between, but
sure.
right now, you know that we ourselves are a virtual school. In fact, we
Yes,
happen to be India's first virtual school, established last year in October. So right now, the problem that we have been facing is that we have to look for accreditations abroad rather than in India. Do you
yes.
think, do you think the kids who are being home tutored, the kids who are opting for homeschooling, will they be getting that proper accreditation from our boards? Will
Uh,
our boards be ever able to affiliate a virtual school?
yes,
Because
I see.
right now, as far as I know, because I have been running around here and there for getting our school affiliated, none of the boards are able to affiliate us. But
Yes,
I will not mention there are certain boards who are ready to affiliate, but at a very high cost, which everybody cannot afford. High cost affiliation means increasing the fee structure.
Very true. Very true.
And
See,
we cannot afford that during pandemic because each and every parent is facing it.
and the very reason why this virtual education homeschooling has come, the concept itself is to reduce the cost. And if the board is going to charge more, it's of waste. See, the open school system, the open school policy, the free syllabus policy of Indian education, NCERT,
Yes.
is coming up. Is coming up. They are building on that, and I'm sure they've already come up with free syllabus system, wherein
I
the
think open school Pratham is there,
yeah,
you know,
open school Pratham. Yes,
OBE,
OB.
OBE,
That's what. Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm talking. Yeah.
That is for children from kindergarten till grade 9.
Yes.
Grade 8, sorry, grade 8.
Grade 8, 8,
Because-
8.
Yeah,
Yes.
because 9 and 10 are open school.
Again, mixed open school. So
Yes.
this particular thing, if it is systematically designed and explained to the board over there, and if we acquire that board, I feel
So, but
uh, this.
open school says that we do not affiliate.
Yes, that is what, because see, the virtual school is not at all a school for them, because they this is a new thing. No, I would say the bureaucrats and the boards, the people who are committee members, they need to be explained. They need to be taught about this. A little time would go. I would say within 1 or 2 years, this would happen, because now the people are understanding these things. So we would have multiple open schools that would be coming up. That is for sure, because there is no other alternative. This is the thing. Open schooling, or I would say virtual schooling, is going to be the only solution that is going to come up, because it helps the parents for acquiring a homeschooling sort of thing. And in addition, we are going to provide all the safety, not only about home or school disturbances, but the streets and the things. If you look at 2016 to 18, there were so many accidents, about road accidents, children traveling, about the accidents that have taken place in the schools, the problems that have occurred to the child, this thing, abusing and other things. All these things would be gone. Last, when during the pandemic, if you look at all these accidents and problems, they were not there because children didn't go to schools. So, in one way, virtual school, if it is looked in real sense, it's going to be a benefit. It's going to be a very helpful tool. And as proven, homeschool has always been the best education system. Only thing, if we add few things into it, and Gyankata, the things that we are working on, I would like to put a little light on my experience on this thing. I was a proctor for uh, certified examination of US, which conducts CISA and SESAM examinations for 15 years. Online, not online, but an offline examination. So I worked for them for 15 years. And now it is have all that has also become an online examination. So today we do examination for those certified courses. Those certified courses are prominent certified courses, means a chartered accountant goes for this examination. It is known as certified information system auditor. Means once he takes this examination, a chartered accountant becomes a super chartered accountant. Engineer becomes a super engineer. A software engineer becomes a super software engineer. That means if he was getting a salary of say 12K, he would get 24K. So that kind of jump takes place because of this examination. So these examinations are also being conducted offline. So why not a first standard or second standard examination can be conducted off online? It's possible. Yeah. So
So there
10th,
are there are organizations like
yes,
NABIT
no,
also. They
yes,
also
they are there.
certify certain platforms to be equipped to take examinations and certify the student.
Yes, but only thing is these are not accredited to any government agency, and
No, NABIT, I guess, is a government agency.
uh,
National
she-
Board. It is National Accreditation Board Association for Teaching and Examination. It is something examination and teaching. It is something
no,
like that.
that is what I'm telling. They give a certification, but that will not allow us that examination
Exactly.
like
For
10th
school
exam
children.
or 12th
For school
exam. Yeah,
children.
well, that will not take place because the board has to allow that particular thing. So the
Right.
boards would also come up with these things, online examinations. The boards, if today, if the board, CBSE board tells Gyankata that please conduct 10th standard examination, we are ready. In a day, we can examine 2 lakh students at one time. We have that capability.
Great.
We can conduct 12th standard examination. We have question papers ready, everything ready. We can do that. So this is the possibility because it's all on server. No human error is there. Everything is done.
Yeah, and that way
Results are done.
leakage of papers and everything will also be curtailed.
And I would tell you there is an additional. The beauty of it is every child would get a new paper. I can guarantee you on that. Every child would have a different question set. So you need not worry that they can copy, they can call a phone call. What is the first question? Give me the answer of that. Not just possible because the first question of that child and this child would be different.
Sir, but don't you think for all this, we need to have a very different method of teaching?
Yes, obviously that you're coming to the point of we need the syllabus, the kind of inputs to be given because now we need to change this. Our education policy
Yeah,
has changed.
because when we were going through Gyan Kata, I think what I observed was that we are giving questions to the students. We are not giving them any answers. That is what we
Yes,
discussed also. We need
yes,
to make it more and more interactive. That is how the child will learn
that's
because
what
times
that's
are
what
changing.
trends are changing. And the questions that are modulated by us, they are so beautiful. Many a times we put the answer into the question itself, and that's the way we normally do when we do better understanding of the child. We do that kind of thing. That the answer is also there, the question is also there. The child has to logically understand what is the answer, and they would
Exactly,
be able
and
to answer it.
that happens only when the child has not mugged up the lesson, the child has
That's
not
it.
memorized the lesson, but the child has learned the lesson.
That's what it is. That's what. So here, I would say, the teachers, the teaching thought itself has to change. I would just refer once again Miss Holly, who had come on Monday, and she had talked about the education system, where she mentioned that the child has to come to the teacher, open up all the thoughts and other things. I want to quote one saying about La Tua's very old Chinese philosophy. He had told about leadership and education. What he said was, you know, what is teaching or what is leadership? He said, go to them, live with them, know what they know, love them, build on what they know, and in the end, they would say, we have done it. So that is the education. That means the child should say, I have passed, I have done good. It's not, the teacher would say, I have taught, and because of because of this school, the child has become like this, because of this teacher, the child has. No. Okay, because one of my very great teacher once told me that you know APJ Abdul Kalam, a very great personality, Bharat Ratna of India, he was taught by a school teacher. I am
Yeah.
also equivalent to that school teacher. I have also taught many children. Not all have become that president of India, right? It's one teacher. That teacher has taught many hundreds of students also, but nobody has become president of India. Similarly, my students have not become. That's a chance. They could have become. It's a child. We should be centering on the child, not on the teacher, not on the syllabus, not on the school. Child centered teaching should be there. So,
That's what, that is why I mentioned earlier also that we
yeah,
follow if a child cannot learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Because
that,
every child has a very different perspective of grasping things. The
yes.
perseverance is different.
Yeah, I want to just tell about, I had been talking to you on this also, that let's take a situation in the class. The teacher teaches 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. And the teacher teaches another exercise and another exercise and keeps on teaching 2-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers. And when does the time come for evaluation? The teacher does the evaluation, comes to know that one of the child has not understood 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. The time has been lost. Lot of time has gone. And now the teacher is worried. This child doesn't know 2 plus 2. And we have already gone into subtraction and now multiplication would come in. So what to do? The teacher is worried. Parent doesn't know. The results are sent to the parents. The parents also come to know. In all this situation, who's at the fault? The fault is blamed on the child. The child
Yes,
didn't
he doesn't
understand.
do it. He doesn't do it. He
He
doesn't want to
doesn't do
do
it.
it.
He
He
doesn't
doesn't
want
want
to
to
do it.
do it.
All these
He's
things.
just interested in playing. That's it.
Yes. And whole thing, what we are doing in this, we are creating negative lot of population in our nation. All those failures, all those failures backed up. The cream we are taking, cream we are making IS officers, doctors, engineers, big people. Doctors, our doctors should be praised because they have come up with the COVID this thing medicine today. They are great. Yes, they are great because they are clean. They are brought in now. But what about this chunk of 1.5 billion people who have been failed? What are we going to do with them? Because they don't know 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Who is at the fault? They are at the fault. I would
Hey,
say we are at the fault.
before
Yes.
pointing towards them, we educators, we forget that there are three fingers pointing towards us.
Yes, we are at the fault. We made this mistake. I didn't do that evaluation right at the education is a triangle. In education triangle, teaching is at the top, evaluation is there. In evaluation, I come to know that there is a reteaching required. I do reteaching, and once again I go to teaching, evaluation, or reteaching. This triangle has to be understood. So evaluation plays a very vital role, and the evaluation has to taken right time. I cannot wait for the evaluation to happen after 3 days, 4 days, when the third exercise has been carried or the lesson is completed, and then I'll take a test. Our test systems are such that we take tests after a month. That means we have almost completed 1 or 2 lessons. We don't know where the child is. We have taken examination for the sake of examination. We have not done teaching. The examination what we have is not for teaching. It is just for the sake of labeling the children who are of no use in the society. Very bad, very bad.
That
I'm
is
harsh
that
on
is
it.
what That is what, sir, really hurts when we label a child that he is of no use.
That's what. That's what. And we are
But sir,
doing it.
there are students who are seriously and genuinely not interested. Reason
Once
being,
again,
reason,
one,
I'll tell you the
yeah,
reason for that. What I researched was reason being they find the lessons boring.
obviously, they
That is
are
why
boring.
they are not interested. They are not interested. I was just talking to one of the students, and he was saying, "Ma'am, the lessons are so boring. I don't feel like attending the class."
I would further take into this particular thing that human beings have multiple skills, multiple likings, and these likings do change for every child. A child may like cars to play. A boy may like to play cars. After some days he wants to throw the cars, smash them, understand them. What do you think he is doing? His his thoughts are changing about it. He's going into a different mentality. After a few days he will throw those things. He will come to something else. He will start playing with mud. He'll start doing. Now these things show that human brains, every human being, as most of the philosophers said, every human being, I would say, Swami Vivekananda had very specifically told that every spiritual soul is divine. He mentioned that it is unique. So everyone is unique. So we cannot say that this child should know mathematics, this child should know English, this child should know geography. No, he doesn't like it. Let him do what he likes it. Why are we forcing? We need not force people onto these things. We shouldn't force children onto these things. That is, I would say, a criminal mistake
In fact, sir,
against humanity.
the, the fact is that our education system is developed in such a manner that till 10th grade, every child is forced to do every subject, whether they like it or not.
Very true, very true. That is what, that is what the new education policy is
Yes.
trying to help now. And even the open board and other things, and this virtual schools would really help out on these things. I have recently just studied about the Netherlands. uh, they have bifurcation of this education, right from fourth or fifth standard, almost that time. And till 16 years of age there is almost no examination, and it is a compulsory education. Compulsory education, that doesn't mean that you have to study this subject only. No, the child can select the subjects, the child can pick up the subjects and can grow. If he wants to become a technician, he goes into technician. He wants to become a research fellow, he goes into research fellow. And this they start selecting, and they would change in between. Not that they cannot change. Till 16 years they can change. After that also they can change. That freedom is there. You know, that sort of modules need to be developed. We need to change. And I would say that these things would come up in times to come.
Definitely, sir. And there is one more thing, sir. The thing is that we do not focus on the strength of the child.
Very true. That's what I was telling. Skills are not known. We never do a test on.
We never try to bring those skills out. What we are interested is, okay, this child has not scored so much in maths. That means he is a failure.
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
this child has not scored so many marks. Like we are in the percentage rat race.
Yes, and we have not studied. Bill Gates. He had failed drastically in mathematics, but now he is the ace computer jargon of the world. Right, top person. How can you label that he was very bad at mathematics? We cannot label these things. This labeling, you need to we need to, as teachers, as educationists, we need to understand these things and focus on little openness of education system, openness of thoughts onto what exactly we want to do in education. One of the most important things that I want to put up on this particular thing right now in pandemic is the classroom activity which was there has gone now. We have come uh, online things. So the thought of classroom education should be removed off, and we should no more be concentrating on classroom system. We should be looking at the education system, what the child wants to learn. Uh,
What
we are
interests the child more? What interests the
Yes,
child more? Because that
yes,
is how we can keep the children glued up to education.
yes. So that's the reason. Uh, one of the platforms are Gyankata.org platform. It has naidisha.gyankata.org. This Naidisha, every week it conducts 2 tests for various groups of children, and those tests are on variety of subjects. The subjects are not classroom subjects. The subjects are open subjects, and based
Basically,
on the
daily life subjects they are.
yeah, there could be video games, there could be art skills, there could be writing skills, essay writing skills, there could be poetry telling skills, there could be anything. So it's open that we have conducted for satellites and stars and other things also. So many things. So this kind of things, this kind of testing is required. That it's not a test, it's just a we are trying to promote, inculcate into them the interest of changing their topics, changing their thoughts to new subjects, instead of sticking themselves to mathematics, this that. No, they need to open up, because the world is changing up. The world is in a new platform now. The world is having a lot of competition, but the competition is not for the subjects. The competition is for growing, to helping out the society, to helping out others, uh, helping out the nations together. The I look at the times where the borders will not be there. If you look at Germany, earlier it was East Germany and West Germany, or uh, now they are no more. Okay, Germany is one Germany. There are no borders. Korea is looking at that same thing. Korea is going to also become one now. So the borders will be, vanishing, because the platforms is different. Now we are coming on an intellectual platform. The humanity has come on intellectual platform. Humanity doesn't remain at that animal structure. We are not no more animals now. The animal instincts are slowly diminishing, and we would be working on intellectual levels only. We would be thinking intellect. Now we see everything as smartphones, things that we are using. Obviously these all things lead us very high. If you look at most of the you know our Indian education platforms, what they were coming asking us to come onto divine level. What was that? You come to your humanity level. You come to your the growth of self.
Sir, I have a question.
Intelligence. Yeah, please.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you in between.
No
Uh,
problem.
right now, you mentioned our Indian education, right?
Yes.
So, I'm not being biased. I'm not being like I am rigid on something, but don't you feel that somehow we have been missing out on the actual Indian history that our kids should know?
Uh, I would say the subject, this particular subject, yes, history needs to be updated, keep on updating it, and it has to go to realistic as the research takes place. Why do science has updated itself? Similarly,
Exactly.
why not then history needs to be updated with the new researches that have taken place? It
Exactly.
has to.
NASA is researching in Indian history.
Yes.
There are other organizations across the world who are researching on our Vedas or manuscripts like Ramayana,
Yes.
Mahabharata.
Yes. Yes.
There are some people who say they are fiction.
See,
There are some who
I,
say like all these things are just completely out. It is just it is something that has been created. So like
I I want to give an example over here. In US, there was a recent research. They had put in to the people some important people in the life, and they said oh, Superman. They said Mahatma Gandhi. They said what is that? One of the fiction story. These things and also oh, Lincoln. So 4 5 people they named. Mahatma Gandhi, his life was told that this is a fictitious person because there cannot be a person who can sit for hunger strike for the people. This was the thing for Mahatma Gandhi. So this happens that uh, we know Mahatma Gandhi just live. We have videos, we have recordings, everything. He was there. Our parents have seen them, but still that person is labeled in another country. In times to come, he would be told even in India that he was a fiction. So all these things do take place. People talk. Manuscripts are there. Vedas are written. They are there. They've been written by the people. Just because they have to be understood in a rightful way, they were written in a poetic form. So what's wrong? So we need to see this has to be studied. Once again, I would say intellectual level, if it increases, automatically these things would be understood.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely. Sir,
Yeah.
one more question. Like what I could understand from all your talks is that you've been very closely observing what is going on between pandemic and education. What is the tussle that is going on between pandemic and education? I wouldn't call it a tussle, it is rather a tussle only that is going
Very.
on. Tug of war. It's basically tug of war. Let's see who wins.
Yes. Yes. So
So,
in this,
what I could understand is you have been very closely observing it. And I think that is one of the reasons why you are here. And I'm really happy to have you here. And in fact, all our viewers, they also might be quite happy to have you here because not everybody speaks so bluntly about what is going on,
yes.
because we know what exactly the situation is, we know what is going on. We
Yes.
cannot just brush up things and present it as very well done things.
Very true. Very true.
So, sir, like you've been observing virtual education, you've been working into virtual examinations since past 10 years. That time pandemic did not exist anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So, sir, what do you see the future of virtual education? Again, I am repeating. What is the future of virtual education for schools and colleges?
It's a very bright future. Let me tell you about the present education system. The present education system is in a in a fear because they have spent on infrastructure, and if they have to do virtual, then what is the cost of the infrastructure? Or rather, for virtual thing, they'll have to add infrastructure, another type of infrastructure, that means computers, servers, and this and that. So that would be a cost, and the parents on the other hand are not ready to pay. So there is almost a fight many places. There have been fights between education institutes and parents. Education institute is demanding money and parents are not ready to pay the money. Now, this particular gap would be understood or could be made up with virtual education. And obviously, virtual education comes in with all the solutions itself. It is virtual 100%. It is telling we are not using infrastructure which is required for classrooms and other things. So we are not very expensive. We would be uh, costless, and in times to come it has to be cheaper education, because looking at all the economic drawback that has taken place, the downfall has taken place, we are not going to be that big rich people. We have become poor. Every person has become poor, so we won't be able to pay heavily on education. We will have to pay less. So slowly there'll be a
But still
downfall of prices.
maintain, even after paying less, we
Yes.
have to maintain the quality of education.
Yeah. So this virtual education will be the result, will be the solution for this particular thing, because it takes care of all these problems, so which are there.
Right, right. My next question has always been what is going to be the future of examinations, for which you've been answering it since the very beginning.
Everything would be an online examination, and I
Yes.
recommend everyone to go for online examination, because every examination is possible with all its beautiful security system, everything. I can right now, our systems are such that a child can be taken up examination of whichever quality you want, and we are sure that the child will not be able to cheat. We have we have systems which will observe them. Camera means the video camera of the this thing right now, how we are doing, the video camera is on and the child is doing writing, and we have our systems check those things whether the child is doing properly or not. So these things are possible. The technology has gone way ahead, so we don't have to worry on cheating and copying, and these things are old timers. Now
So,
the question is different.
so I
Yes.
have a question, one more question, and quite possibly it could be the last, or I don't know. Like I might pick up something from what you're talking.
Yeah.
Well, while we are talking about this virtual education thing, right? Okay, we have spoken about school examinations that can be taken through Gyankata,
Yes.
right? What about colleges taking the examinations? Is it available for colleges also?
See, up to 12th standard, we are already ready.
Okay.
And apart from that, we are already ready for NET, JE, all competitive exams. We have worked also for MP, Madhya Pradesh Board public examination, UPSC. We have done for UPS also. We have all those examinations. So for college exams, the only thing that is would be needed for us to load multiple questionnaire sets. We have to extend that particular thing. We can very easily shift
Yeah,
within a period of
according, we have to shift according to the level of the colleges.
level of the colleges. So based on that, we can very easily go. So if
Right,
any university approaches us, we are very ready to do that. We can take over that.
right,
That is
right.
possible. That's possible.
Right, right. So, sir, one more question. Like, I don't know when the questions are going to end, but yes, every time you speak a word, there is a question that is coming up, because we have an inquisitive brain.
Yes.
Wherever we feel like, okay, now I think I should know the depth of it, we come up with a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Right. So, like right now, all of us, we are teaching in very diverse manners, like
Mm.
teachers and parents and us.
Yes.
We are hunting for systems that are in place.
Yes. Very
Why?
true.
Why? Because we are not satisfied by the way we are doing.
Yeah. Now, I would say this is the right time and this is the right situation that should have happened. Everyone should be diverse. We are everyone unique. Why we should be similar? Everyone should be similar? No, I'm against that particular thing. No,
Yeah, because it is
you should
very.
teach differently. I will teach the same subject in a different manner.
I would
But
like
the
to
understanding,
show a small video, sir. I don't know
yeah,
whether we'll be able to play it right now. Just give me a moment.
yeah,
You can continue by the time I get it on
yeah.
board.
So what I was telling is every teacher is a unique and every child is a unique, and in that way we can teach separate things. But if the evaluation is unique for everyone, means similar for everyone, automatically reteaching would be done, and the understanding that is required. In the end, what do we want? 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. The child should understand this. I would teach it taking ducks. She would take up stones. Somebody would take up some bubbles and do it. In the end, the child would understand 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So my evaluation system has to be a common evaluation system so that we would come to know that the child has understood 2 plus 2 is equal to 4.
Just a moment, so I'll just share the screen.
For decades, people have been finding hundreds of flaws in the education system. No conceptual understanding, no creativity, children are stressed, and the list goes on. All these are symptoms.
Is the screen
But
visible, sir?
what is the root cause to all
Yes,
this?
yes.
What is the fundamental flaw in the education system? Let us play a rapid fire game. You have 1 second to answer every question. Let's start. First question. A4? Okay, no more questions. Did you think apple first? 98% of people are most likely to think so. Because that was what we were told in our kindergarten. Imagine that this was done differently. Say we had asked you for all the words starting with A. Ant, ace, April, apt. Different answers would have popped out of everyone's head. Do you see where the problem is? Before children start going to school, every child is unique. Every child thinks different. But the education system makes every child think the same. This is the fundamental flaw in the education system. Why did this start? During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the education system was designed to make children ready to work in factories. The factories did not require people to think, but to only work like robots. So, the education system stripped children of their freedom to think and destroyed their true potential. The same education system continues even today. Only the industries have changed. A study by NASA shows that 98% of children think different before they start going to school. As they go through this education system, at 25 years of age, only 2% think different, and 98% think the same. So how does the education system make every child the same? Let's go back to the apple example. Kindergarten lessons told us that A is for apple. We asked you for words that start with A. Our education system gave us the answers. We asked you a question. Answers make you the same. Questions make you different. Right from kindergarten, the education system keeps giving answers. Instead of asking children how plants make food, the science teacher gives you the definition of photosynthesis. Instead of asking them to describe the sun, the teacher tells them that the sun is a ball of fire at the center of the solar system. Through their years in school, children lose the capability to think on their own. Whether it is their choice of career, or their relationship, or any situation in life, they become dependent on others for answers. They completely lose their true nature, and their extraordinary potential remains unrealized. Now, we face a million problems in the world, for which we are only awaiting answers. So, what is the solution? We need an education system that recognizes that every child is different and is questioning based so that it brings out the extraordinary human potential in every child. Green for the Child is a nationwide movement which calls upon every teacher, every parent, every educator, every policymaker, everyone who has a role to play in the development of a child to join hands together to reform the education system and bring out the human potential in every child.
This is a bitter fact, sir.
That's the beautiful
This
thing.
is a bitter.
That's what this is the bit of fact. I just want to extend further onto this that what we are today in India, if we look at the number of population and the number of inventions registered, compare it with US, the population and number of inventions registered. We are hardly 1% inventions registered every year, and they are at 59% registrations. So where are we? Why we are like this? Because of the education system. We were made to work as clerks. That also clerks, I would say. That was the thought. It was not for overseers or managers, because overseers and managers were brought from UK, okay, British Raj system, and we were there only for clerks. That is what. Very true. You have brought out a very good video. I appreciate that. Very nice. It
Thank
should
you
be
so much.
published more and more.
In fact, that is one of the reasons, sir, why we create. We in fact, I have not created it, but I was
Okay.
just surfing it, and I came
Okay.
across the video, and that really struck hard in my mind. It gave me a big blow
Very true. Very true.
because of
You know,
our education system, sir. Like there are so many kids who leave their families and go.
yeah,
There are so
okay.
many
Correct.
dropouts. There are so many dropouts because they
Dropout.
are not able to cope up, because we push them forcefully into percentage rat
Yes.
race.
Yes. That rat race. You and me talking on this subject at this age, right? If you look, my age is too big, you're too young, but still, to come to this level of intelligence that there is a fault over here, it took a long time, isn't it?
Exactly. So
If we would have been in open
18,
institute,
19 years, since past
yeah,
18, 19 years, I have been continuously thinking and working on these lines.
yeah, that's what. But to come out with the result,
What
if
we
we would have been
have been
educated
doing,
better,
exactly what we have been doing is,
yeah,
okay, we complete the lesson in the class, we write the
yeah,
answers on the board, and those
yeah,
kids who are not able to write the answers, we tell them, okay, in the book you mark from here to here, here to here, here to here, and the answer is done.
answer is done.
Where is
That's
the
all.
teaching?
Yes,
Where is the
there's no
teaching?
teaching. Yeah,
We
mug
are
up the
just
thing
feeding.
and go
We are just
exam.
feeding. That is what this video says. We don't give
Very
them the authority to think. We just give
yes,
them, okay, you go through it, do it. Like there was an ad for Hero Honda: fill it, shut it, forget it.
set it, forget it. It's just the same thing we are doing.
Exactly,
We
sir.
need it. So Gankata is working on this line, and Nai Disha, the whole Nai Disha, the word, the tagline Nai Disha. We want the education to change its thought line. Questions, putting up questions to the children, multiple questions. Answers are there, but they should be logically thinking it. Find out the answers, and the answers are available, and
Exactly.
they enjoy. They say,
Exactly.
"Yeah, we have answered it."
Exactly. It says, do not give, like it says, we give them answers. We don't give them questions. It
Yeah.
is time now. The kids after 2000, they are all cyber kids.
Yes.
They're all cyber kids. We
Yes.
need to, वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, जब तक दिमाग नहीं घिसेंगे तब
Yes.
तक वो चमकेगा नहीं. तो
चमकेगा नहीं.
अभी टाइम है जब हमें अपने बच्चों का और अपना खुद का दिमाग घिसना है. We need to
सही.
just scrub it out and bring out the best in it.
Very true. Very true. This is the right time. I would take this pandemic to be an opportunity for education system to boom up in a different way.
Exactly.
So pandemic has helped out, homeschooling has helped out, virtual education has helped out education to boom up into the thought process rather than that, in four walls. That is gone now.
Brick and
Uh,
mortar method of teaching.
Yes, brick and mortar. So we are in open now. We are world is the platform, globe is the platform. We say so. Education today, the children. I would say virtual education. Why they would be sitting in India and getting educated, sitting in a village. Sitting in a village, they would be taking a certification, or they would be able to learn the education which is there in on around the globe. So global education is possible because of virtual education. So
Exactly.
obviously, virtual education is the solution that has come up of this pandemic.
And that is what we are also doing, sir. We are giving questions to our kids.
Very true. Very true. That's the thing that is required.
Yeah, because until and unless we shake them, they won't
Yeah,
come up
we
with
were.
the real.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We can keep on talking for hours and hours because this is
Yes.
such a topic, which is
Yeah.
such a topic that it's not going to end soon.
Yeah. This
So,
it's
I
it's
think it's time now. Even our like our viewers, they might be bored because we've been just interacting, and we've just been eating
very
their
true.
brains. So,
Yes.
thank you so much, sir, for coming
Thank
and
you.
sharing
Thank you.
your insight with us. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Tomorrow we will be here with Dr. Preeti Shrimal. She's a expert in kindergarten education. Let's see what she has in store for us. Thank you and namaste. Good night.